we started this show about a year and a half ago, and it was very interesting because we all knew each other like from 12 years ago when we participated together from different reasons at an event organized by Centro Pablo. And so around 10 years after or something, one of us found a photograph of everybody together and put it on Facebook. And everybody commented the photo, so it was really interesting to see that everybody was online, that everybody like follow it, and that people remember it very nice. So from there on, it was the idea of trying to bring everybody back to Cuba, and at the same time, it was the preparation of the art biannual. So I said, like, what if we do a show and we submit it to the art biannual, and then we can have something next year and we have a frame to do it in. And from there on, from that kind of re-encounter, kind of like updating what we were doing, seeing each other, share. It was, I think, the main goal of Centro Pablo was like to connect people and create spaces for people to share ideas and work and experiences. So from there on, it was this how this show became. But there was a problem there, and it was like every artist was doing different types of work. So we had to find a concept so we can show everyone's work, and it wouldn't look like a pastiche. So it would look, it would be fluent, and it will have a sense. So we started to ask every artist to submit pieces. We first said something about the idea of Havana and what you took from Havana and what you have done from there, and then we quickly changed that into the idea of how we relate, which is it's a general idea that we explore within the concept of how you interact, and it gave us the space to include interactive work, but also work that was more introspective, work that was more related to an inner self and more private. So we love the whole thing of going from what could be very minimal, emotional, and individual to something that could expand and project and ask people to play around with the work and to see the work. So that's why we have a show in which we included performances, we included sound installations, we included photography, and we included an application, which is actually one of the pieces. It's a mobile app, and it gave us the frame to put all that together and make it happen in a fluent and in a coherent way. And then we were very lucky when the Art Biannual accepted our show as part of the collateral events, especially because it was the show that included only foreign artists. So if I'm not wrong, I think it's probably the only show it's a collateral exhibition that only has foreign artists. And also, and this is completely unrelated to the show, but I think it's important because we made the show not because of this. We made the show because the reasons I already explained, but also it's a very diverse show. We have a representation from different countries, different part of the world, that also connect with different media, different approaches, different ways to understand, project, and create art. So I think that means a lot for every artist that came here, and I think to see how the work or their work actually connected with someone else was was very important. We found out that one subjacent theme became water, and we didn't plan for it, but it just came afloat, so they used the word. So that was really a winning, I think. I think we have all won something with the show. So the name of the show is Interaction, and that actually stands for the idea on how we can reflect that concept not just within the artist, but also between the artwork and the society, between the artist and the environment, and how that concept can manifest in pieces that can be very individual, very minimal, very personal, but can also be manifested in pieces where you involve the audience, like performances or interactive work. So from that starting point, there was a connection to explore each area of work, and we had Herve Freeman, who's an artist from the U.S., and at the current time she's working on a mobile application, which is her artist book, and she illustrates and she creates these wonderful images that also connect in a way with technology, because she takes elements and aspects of technologically like a futuristic society, and then at the same time she has these images which are very much into this surreal way of understanding the world, pretty much connected to illustrations or work like you can see in Alice in Wonderland. So that kind of surrealistic approaches, and we were very interested in her work as a artist book, because I think it's a very attractive format that not so many artists use anymore with the digital age. So the idea of bringing something that comes from the analog life to the digital life was very actually catch my eye on exploring the theme of interaction. So how would you interact with a book that is actually a mobile app instead of a physical book with pages and paper? So then we had a piece by Mariana Branco, a Brazilian artist, designer, photographer, and she's at this moment she's working with in her own like finding herself through yoga. So she has been doing a lot of research and practicing yoga, and she submitted a number of photographs in which she relates herself to the landscape, and in a way of reading the landscape as within the chance of the landscape modifying or giving you or transmitting peace and quietness and relaxing ideas, which I think it's pretty much something that could look as very naive or very innocent, but at the same time I think it's important to have a number of peace, and that not everybody has to be aggressive or violent in their artwork, that we can also have a space for artworks that traces the idea of quietness, the idea of stillness, the idea of peace, rather than having something that's shock or it's vibrant to our eyes. And I think that in the same way as that, in the same concept, we selected Herve's work, because Herve was so individual, it's so personal. And when we look at the work and when we read the statement, it was very interesting to see how he was willing to share those experiences that for some reason we thought that they were very private. I don't know if you agree with me, but that was our understanding of your work. And so within that idea of exploring you as a person and you as an individual and you within your fears or your aspirations or your desires, we found out Herve's work really attractive, and that would really connect a sort of more personal way of dealing with interaction rather than something more technological. Even though it was interesting that it was a sound installation, so it has And the way it was set up in the show, it has two interactive connections. One is with the device that plays the music, and the other one is with the audience that has to plug earphones into the player to listen to the piece. So
Just water, please.
on one side, one piece that is very intimate became, I think, addresses the individual at a personal level, because you have to have earphones to listen to it. So then, within the idea of working with our personal experiences, we look at Alessandro's work. And Alessandro's work has to do with the idea of life after death. And it's also very personal, but it's also very interesting because it has been using family and friends to create the images. So in that way, he proposed another level of interaction as the artist within his surroundings, within his context in a different way than Mariana or than Herve. And then when this work came through, he also proposed the idea of the setting of the piece was also an interactive setting in which people could move through the work, could relate physically to the work, which is something we know that is not very common. The artwork in which we look at the piece that is hung on a wall, that is preserved from the audience, that you don't interact with it. And it was the opposite that Alessandro wanted. Alessandro wanted people to move within the pieces and to explore the pieces at a more sensorial level. So one idea that connects to that in the show then about exploring you and exploring your context is Greg's performance, in which he has not only explored his own context, but he has also found a way to propose a vision on themes like ecology, themes like sustainability. And I think that the social commitment that Greg has in his pieces is very it's very interesting, because he is the artist within a context that doesn't necessarily has to be his own. So it's getting out of your comfort zone, it's exploring something that could be at some point aggressive to you, not just visually but also physically. So it's putting yourself in a position of risk, and that's something I really found interesting about his performance, how he discovers to people, he discovers to the audience a whole new way of understanding the city. And within that discovery, we also discovered that the way he created the performance actually brought an underlying themes to the work, which it becomes a more aesthetically and a little bit maybe superficial way. But it's interesting because we had another theme that suddenly was water. So Herve's piece has a relationship with water. Mariana's piece, although only aesthetically, but does have a relationship with water. And same as Alessandro, who uses water to create his pieces like Dry Eyes. And again with Greg, who are like the main pieces of the show currently, because the other two artists that were supposed to come, they didn't make it. And these two artists that we also got invited were performance artists, and their pieces had to do with the way the artist itself interacts at a more one-to-one level with the public. That's why we were not able to reproduce the performances, because those had to do, one piece had to do with the idea of secrets, and the artist as a listener, the artist as a vessel for other people's secrets. So without the artist, it wasn't viable to do that. But it complemented the show in a way that it was the performance that actually proposed a direct interaction between the artist and the audience and the public. So in that way, I think we cover a lot of a wide range of interactive pieces, and I think we even expanded the concept. Because lately people think that interaction is only technology based, and we are more close to the idea by Paul Ricoeur that the artwork is completed by the spectator. So if you as an spectator complete the audience, complete the piece with your presence, then you are interacting with the work.
I felt interacts with the public space, with an audience in a myriad of ways. So I felt that it was suitable given the title of the exhibition. In terms of connection with the other work here, my gut feeling is that the works proposed were fairly independent of one another. They did not really, the individual artists, as far as I know, were not particularly informed about the nature of the other works that were going to be in the group exhibition. But, nevertheless, there is an interesting synergy and connection between the different types of works. There's a water theme that seems to have emerged, so that's kind of interesting, and that has grown unexpectedly.
Y al revés.
Y el niño chiquitico había crecido ya, ¿eh?
Sí, estuvo un poquito. Pero ya estaba un poquito demorado.
¿Cómo se pronunciaría? Yanlek, terminante ese Yanlek.
¿Yaile? Igual. Tú lo hicimos de la. Vamos a saber quién es Yaile. Él dice Yaile. Nadie sabe qué van a hacer al final. Como me dicen, Stalin.